personal foul.
That was absolutely ridiculous.
The Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
Up on down. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series.
I don't know. It's tough. Tom's up there, man. Beantown.
What's up, Boston Bruins? Boston Bruins.
What is going on YouTube? It's boy Justin Mater here on YouTube and for Beantown Takes. We're back in with another reaction video. Don Sweeney addresses media ahead of the NHL trade deadline. Wow, I didn't think that the trade deadline was this late, but I completely forgot about the deadline for the NHL, and that is on March 6th, so it's approaching very fast. So if I want to get myself an article out for the Bruins, that means I got to do it very quickly, because I keep forgetting that the NHL trade deadline is so late. I don't know why it's so late in the season. I think it should be like around the same time frame like the NBA's is, but you kind of forget about it. And yeah, what should the Bruins do at the trade deadline? Now, they're in a little bit of an interesting situation right now. They currently have 71 points on the season. They hold the final wild card spot in the NHL standings. They are 4 points out from the third spot in the Atlantic Division. Right now, they are 3 points behind the Detroit Red Wings for the first wild card spot, which would be essentially the 7th seed. And people are wondering, are they going to buy? Are they going to sell? Like, what should they do? They are 2 points ahead of the Washington Capitals for the final wildcard spot. They're in a pretty good position right now. And the Capitals have played 62 games. So they played more games than the Bruins. So Bruins legitimately hold the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. Like, that is, like, legit where they stand. So what should the Bruins do? Are they title contenders this year? I would still lean on the no end. I would still lean on the no end that they are not title contenders for this year. However, having said that though, what I will say for the Boston Bruins is, should they sell? No, I don't think they should sell. I don't think they should sell, nor I don't think they should buy. I guess they should maybe, if anything, conservatively buy. And by conservatively buy, I mean the only way, like, you're doing a trade is if you're getting a piece for the future. You're not necessarily getting yourself a piece to win this year. You're getting yourself a piece so you can win it in the future. That's what I think they should do. And they have a plethora of young talent. They have their picks that they're able to go out and make themselves a trade for a piece that could help them win in the future. Now, what are some names out there that are going to be available for trade? No idea, honestly. I have no idea who could be on the market for the NHL. But the Bruins have some young talent to play with. They have their picks still. So I think they could really make a push out there for a long-term piece if the cost is right. Now, do I think that they're going to do that? I don't know. But I don't really see them having a full-on fire sale like they did last year. I don't see them buying to win a championship, though, like they did in that 2023 season. Yeah, 2022-2023 season. However, in the same breath of that, I do not see the Boston Bruins going on a full-on spending spree this trade deadline to go for a push this year like they did in the 2022-2023 season. I see the Boston Bruins essentially looking at their young piece and maybe moving them for a piece for the future. Now, I got to take a look real quick of who is available for trade this season. I don't know who's going to be really available. Let's take a look at some names real quick that could be on the move. Vincent Trocheck, Nazem Kadri. Those are a couple of centers that are on the list here. They say Dougie Hamilton, not really interested in a defenseman. I think the defenseman is good. I think the Bruins need more skill guys. One of the biggest names that has been brought up for the Bruins has been Jake DeBrusk. That's been a name that's been brought up a ton for the Boston Bruins for this trade deadline. Obviously, you guys know how big of a fan I am of Jake DeBrusk, so obviously I would welcome him back with open arms. I think he could be a low-cost move for the Bruins. I also think that Vancouver would eat up a little bit of his money so that they could get rid of his contract off the books. It might only cost you like $2.5 million per year, and he's still on a somewhat of a long-term deal. That could be a move I could see the Bruins doing going forward. Well, I know Jake DeBrusk is not the youngest player that the Bruins could get, and honestly, he's not really like a superstar-type talented player either. But he is a skilled guy who is known for his goal scoring and his playmaking. Like, he's had success of that over the years. This year, he's got 13 goals, 15 assists, so not having a terrible year, but it definitely is a down year for Jake DeBrusk this year versus some years in the past where his last year with the Bruins, he had 19 goals, 21 assists. He also had a season where he had 27 goals and 23 assists. He had a year where he had 25 goals, 17 assists. And last year with Vancouver, he had 28 goals and 20 assists too. So, like, this has been really a down year for Jake DeBrusk. And they might be selling low on him. So, you know the type of player that you're getting. You're getting somebody who gets around 50 points a season, while this year is a down year for Jake DeBrusk. But, like, you're getting somebody who's realistically around that 40 to 50 range points mark each season. And that's the kind of player again, and he still is going to be on a contract too after the season. I believe he's got like 2 years left. I have to double check on that, but he does have some years left on him after this season. So the Bruins will have some long-term hold for Jake DeBrusk going forward, and definitely somebody that could help him out going forward. Yeah, he's got 5 years left on his contract after this year, so they'll have Jake DeBrusk for a long time, and Vancouver might even be willing to eat up some money in this deal too. So while it's not really like a ideal trade for Bruins fans, I think Jake DeBrusk does fill a void that the Bruins do have, which is skill guys and somebody who's talented to put the puck in the back of the net, alongside with play make too. So I can definitely see Jake DeBrusk being a guy that they could go and get. And that's the kind of players that you're going to go after. It's going to be guys who are going to help you out in the long term. And it's going to be skill guys too, because the Bruins do need some skill guys. They don't really need to go after any defensemen or whatever. They just honestly need to go out there and they need to fill some talent. And that's really all they have to do. Again, I'm not expecting a big splash, but I am expecting some moves where, like, it's going to help them win it in the future. So, we're going to react to this video here. Leave a thumbs up if you guys enjoy these videos. Subscribe if you guys new. You guys have to do. Go check out the website. The link is in the description down below. If you guys want to be notified whenever I drop an upload, hit that notification bell so you can be the first one to watch these videos. And without further ado, let's hop straight into reaction.
Almost good afternoon, good morning everybody. Thank you for stopping by on trade deadline week.
Don't mind me if I blow my nose a couple times. I don't know what allergies doing to me right now, but it's really kicking in. So
not necessarily as aggressive and active, but we would like to continue to improve our hockey club if possible, and exploring opportunities to do so with the intention of obviously giving our team that has done a pretty good job so far, our coaches, players, staff, attention to the power play, some of the areas that we identified going into this year, and being much, much more competitive. We'd like to give them a bump because they've earned that, but it's an eye towards, obviously this year, but moving forward as well. So that's what our intentions are as we go to the deadline, and that may...
And honestly, wow, I can't believe I'm sitting here. I'm actually agreeing with what he's saying. Like, he's kind of said the same thing that I've already said. Like, again, I don't think there's going to be a big splash going into this year's trade deadline. But, listen, if there's an opportunity for you to go get somebody, then sure. Like if Robert Thomas of St. Louis becomes available, then absolutely go for it, because that's a long-term control piece who is a very good center. Center is a position that you do need, I would say. So if you can get somebody like that, go for it. Do I think that's going to happen? No, not really. I don't think that's going to happen. Do they have the pieces to pull off a Robert Thomas move? I think they do. I mean, they have some young core guys that are pretty good, but are they going to be like Robert Thomas? I don't know, honestly. I don't know if they're going to be like Robert Thomas. So they have the opportunity to go get a guy like that. It just depends on who's available, if it's the right player to go after. And if you think he is, then go for it. Like, having himself a down year this year, but like, he was really good last year, if I'm not mistaken correctly. Like, he was really good last year and the year before that. I don't know why this volume keeps coming on here. But yeah, last year he had 21 goals, 60 assists. The year before that he had 26 goals, 60 assists. 18 goals, 47 assists. So he's very good on the playmaking end. He just got to get that bump, getting some pucks into the back of the net. That's really all he needs to do. And he's only 26. So, like, if you can get someone like him, then, like, I think it'd be worth the risk. Like, of a second-round pick. A couple second-rounders and a young player. But, like, I believe that's, like, the best guy out there for the Bruins at this current moment. But that's kind of move that you're making. You're making moves that help you now, and it also helps you in the long term. So, that's really like the mindset of the Bruins right now. And that's what he just said. So, honestly, I'm surprised that I'm agreeing with Don Sweeney right now. But he's right. That's how the Bruins got to think in this trade deadline.
Because they've earned that. But it's an eye towards, obviously this year, but moving forward as well. So that's what our intentions are as we go to the deadline. And that may or may not come to fruition. But we're going to explore them and see what presents. It doesn't mean we're going to sacrifice some of the things that we went through last year to try and address organizational depth, both at prospect level, draft capital level, and at the NHL level. And I think that we
don't mind me, guys. I'm just taking
there,
a look at
some of
the players that are possibly available.
And, we have to have an eye towards what our intentions were back then. And but again, I respect when Morgan Geekie and players speak out that they would like the opportunity to continue to move forward with their group because they've done a good job.
Don, as I said, you accrued a lot of assets last year at this time. How do you weigh staying the course and filling your depth with high-end talent, with possibly parlaying some of those assets to get an impact player that would be on the same level of David and Charlie McAvoy, who are in their prime right now?
Well, I mean, again, our scouts, all year, has been in particular last year identifying players that would be part of that.
Prochek's on the next team for a couple of years if they go after him, I guess.
In conjunction with some of the players you just referenced. And again, players in Kuzadinov and Minton and guys that have jumped onto our team done a really good job. Those necessarily aren't a high profile.
Stamkos on the back end of his career, but like he would definitely help.
Continue to add to our group.
He's under contract for this year, next year.
We have the opportunity to trade or acquire.
And I believe the year prior. So he's under contract till 2028.
This time of the year, the asks are.
Elias Peterson's one.
And that's the balancing act. It just is. But if we have
I don't know how I feel about Elias Peterson, honestly.
To be a difference maker, and he's under control or the opportunity.
Ryan O'Reilly, no. I would say no on that.
And it's my job to figure out what that acquisition cost will be and whether or not.
So there's a couple of guys out there, but.
Ron mentioned, like players speaking out and saying that they want to add, and you just mentioned the high prices. When you look at those two things, do you still look at maybe trading off and taking advantage of those high prices for your benefit to be an option, or do you simply want to add?
Trading current players on our roster?
Yes.
Again, it really comes down to what the other team's going to look for. Some are hockey trades, some are futures. I'm not going to just leverage things to the point maybe we've done some of that stuff in the past and thinned our group out. But I'm willing to explore a hockey trade if it presents, for all parties. I think we're taking a little more pragmatic approach to improving our club now and certainly moving forward.
John, is there interest in the rental market, or is this more about players with term, players that might be...
Hey man, you know who would help out this team right now? Brad Marchand.
Sort of weighing those two things.
The current rental market is probably not at the top of the list. There are players that, in the same way that Morgan or players speak out, that may identify this is where they want to play. And those are opportunities that
That's the one move I guess I did not like from him last year.
If you were exploring that,
that's probably the only move I didn't like from him last year.
There are players on that fit that criteria that we have to have conversations about. So I wouldn't necessarily term it as a pure rental side of things. If a player deems he's going to go to market regardless, then
imagine if he traded back from Marchand.
But I'm going to ask that question, in all the circumstances that exist, because I think we're
It's a
still
stretch,
trying
but
to stay the course and stay committed.
That'd
to
be a
what,
full 180.
Organization we decided to do. It's just that our players and staff have done a good job, so they put us in a position. We talked about being more competitive. Our home record is outstanding. Our road record needs to improve. Most teams that have success are able to win on the road. We haven't done as much of that as we would like, and we haven't played quite as well coming out of the break. So there's all variables that are part of that. As much as Morgan speaks out, I'm going to speak out about what our group, what we would like to continue to see, and hopefully those things align, and I can help the group.
Long-term roster flexibility-wise, where do you feel like this hockey club is at? And could you see this club making a move either now or in the offseason?
I think we're in a really good spot moving forward. We have flexibility. We have younger players that likely will come online. And we have some draft capital that we can explore. And sometimes that presents. That deal doesn't happen at the deadline. May happen, at the draft or shortly thereafter. And I think that there are some teams that have positioned themselves to possibly do that. And hopefully we're one of them. But the cap's going up, so I think there'll be some teams that will be exploring that in the same way. It'll be competitive.
How are you finding both the CBA changes and this situation with the standings and how tight they are to be impacting the market?
Well, I think CBA stuff is still unfolding as we go along, whether that's, I'm not speaking for you, Emily, whether that's the cap counting for the playoffs or, term limits and some of the things that exist. Those are things that we have to get in and kind of live and figure out how they're going to do. And the same thing with retention and brokerage and some of the stuff that has changed. But we'll know at the deadline whether or not teams were handcuffed a little bit. I think moving forward it probably loosens up. But again, I can't forecast for 32 teams. I can only worry about our team at this point in time.
Donna, two from me. First is a point of clarification. I think most of us were surprised when news broke that Florida had top 10 protected their pick this year, which domino effect could push the Marchand pick back. Can you clarify if you guys were aware of that condition?
Yeah, I clearly was aware of the condition.
Okay. And
what?
And pick back. Point of clarification. I think most of us were surprised when news broke that Florida had top 10 protected their pick this year, which domino effect could push the Marchand pick back. Can you clarify if you guys were aware of that condition?
Yeah, I clearly was aware of the condition.
Okay.
What? Hold on. I gotta look this up real quick. Panthers pick 2 Bruins. It's a 2027 pick. I'm so confused, like, what he's trying to ask here. Like, the pick is not this year. It's next year. What is he talking about? Top 10 protected? Is he saying top 10 protected next year? Oh my god, it's a top 10 protected pick in 2027? Buddy, what is wrong with you? That makes that trade look a lot worse. So, not only is it a top 10 protected pick in 2027, but you had to have all those ramifications last year in order for it to just be a first-round pick? Bro, you fumbled that freaking trade for Martian. That was easily the worst trade you did last offseason. Makes literally 0 sense why he made that trade. The other trades he made, you can argue that he got some pretty good value for those players. But this one here just makes no sense. And unfortunately, he's a player that you could use on your team right now. So I don't know. Why do you agree to that? Ridiculous.
And second question, what is your approach this week with your pending UFAs, Andrew Peeke and Victor Arvidsson?
Well, we play 11 games in 19 days coming up, so we're in a position that, we've got a couple unhappy guys that have been out of the lineup in the back end, but, chances are you're going to need depth between now and the end of the year. Most teams are playing 15, 16, 17 games in the month of March. The schedule is condensed.
I mean, if I had to guess, they're probably going to go.
They're going to need the depth, so I'm not just in a hurry to usher people out the door that helped us, get to the point that we are right here. If something presents and maybe there's a lateral situation that improves our depth, then I have to do my job and explore it. But
right.
That's not necessarily what our intentions are, but it only takes one phone call to change that mindset of mine.
Don, with the success some of your college prospects have had this year, Hagens, Latorno, Zellers, do you see them as a possibility turning pro at the end of their eligibility or at the end of this spring and maybe being impact players for you more immediate than in the future?
Well, I mean, most importantly, those players, need to be where their feet are currently. And their college seasons are not done. They have, a lot of them have aspirations to win their regular seasons, to win their playoffs, and get to the NCAAs.
Yeah.
We don't have that conversation ahead of time. We will certainly individually have it with each and every one of them and make our recommendations as we see it. The vast majority of them should be continuing along their college path and developing naturally. There'll be some guys that under or so's graduating. Like there will be some guys turning pro this after college season.
Excuse me.
Whether they'll impact our team, that remains to be seen. There aren't a lot of guys that come in at playoff time and impact their team or in a playoff race, but we're open to it. We're not going to close any doors. We're going to have the conversations at the appropriate time and make a most informed decision we can.
A lot of the players that have kind of been connected in rumors to you guys have been on the right side of the D. Is that an area?
Well, I'll tell you what, James Hagen is having a phenomenal year this year.
Now, especially with
20 goals, 20 assists.
Well, I think there are any areas.
He's been lighting it up in college so far.
A lot of times you run into problems on depth of D. Now we've Jonathan Asbro's
He's
on our
looked
team
great
as a result of that, and Victor's played games, Callie's played games. Bernays had a really good season, so we feel comfortable that.
Looking like he might be the steal of the draft.
You just never know. Now moving forward, with Andrew expiring, we playing Mason on the right side right now. I think we have to be realistic that our group probably needs to be supplemented in that position.
Two questions. First, Hagen, since he got back from World Juniors, seems like he's taken a step. What do you notice just his overall game and playing on the wing?
Well, our development guys have spent quite a bit of time. It's an easy lift to have so many guys at BC to go over and spend some extra time there. And I think we've been more specific with all of our guys, communication-wise and supportive with the coaches. And in this case, Brownie was at the World Juniors, and him being the head coach, I think there's a really unique opportunity to sort of relay messages to James, in terms of the bigger picture of what translates to the pro and what doesn't. And we've been more intentional with that, and he's responded in a lot of those ways. His production is still really good. He's playing a lot more on the wing, which could be an easier entry point for a young player in the National Hockey League. That, again, remains to be seen. We drafted him as a center. He can play center, but now he's playing both sides. So I think that adds some versatility.
Yeah.
But again, I think our player development guys have been very intentional in messaging, in conjunction with what the coaches are expecting.
I honestly think that kid could be up in the NHL next year. Like, that's how good he's looked.
In their development.
And then this year, you've performed above expected at pretty much both ends of the rink. How does that influence just how you approach the deadline, knowing that perhaps there's been above expected?
I mean, shout out to Don Sweeney for being able to draft him at number 7.
To exceed expectations, I think that our players have a lot of pride, and I think that Marco and the staff do a really good job of putting in structure, putting in game plans, and for the players to go out and execute, and I think they've done a good job. They've been rewarded in some of that. Goaltending, you look at Corby coming out of the break, had a fabulous game against Columbus. So, yeah, our players have done a good job in responding to the game plan, to the structure that we want to play with. The competitive nature of our group was what we had identified that we needed to get back to. Re-identify from a standpoint of what the Bruins and what the fan base expects, what we expect as an organization, and that's not changing going forward. Now, we would like to continue to add to our skill set. Asked about identifying impactful players that whether that's draft, develop, and Fraser's a good example of that. We need to continue to do that and identify them and get them into our lineup here in this year, next year, and future years. So that's the only way we're going to continue to improve. It's one thing to stand up here and say we're going to be a tough route or a competitive team, but you have to be able to stack up against the best teams we expect to have playoff success, and we're not there yet. I think we can get there, and our players have done a good job.
Don, if I'm characterizing you correctly, you had said that earlier you thought that maybe Dean had gotten to college a year early, and that might not have been the best thing for him. But now that he's having the year that he's having, do you think the struggle year last year helped him in ways that ends up making that
for sure
last year more valuable, having spent it at BC, more valuable for his overall development?
Well, hopefully I was looking at it and saying, people were talking about being a wasted year, and I don't believe that. It was up to Dean to put the work in, and first of all, it was necessary to be able to have the type of year he was having, and he did a lot of that, and he continues to do a lot of that. The opportunity needed to line up, that he then needed to take advantage of. Those are the positive attributes that Dean and the coaches and our player development guys, that where the alignment has had, and it's obviously been a productive year. He just would have been better served, in our opinion, and we talked about this after the fact. We talked about it prior to, but there was an opportunity. There was unique. Will Smith left, and Dean wanted that opportunity, and but there were growing pains as a result of it. It's okay. You think about it, hardened him a little bit. He understood that the attention that was put on him and things that, and he used his motivation because he did the work and took advantage of the opportunity this year. So at the end of the day, you move forward. You look back and say, hey, could you do differently? Yeah, but it doesn't matter anymore. What can I do now? What can I do today? What can I do tomorrow?
Wow, I can't believe I'm actually agreeing with him a lot here.
When you look at the job that Marco has done in his first year, what's your assessment of how he has performed, both in terms of on ice, message delivery, bringing back competitiveness back to the team?
All the things that were sort of playing out during the interview process with Marco have sort of have borne out. Very, very passionate about the game. Wants to communicate with his players, has conviction in how the team is supposed to play. He's able to redirect. I think the learning curve associated with the National Hockey League and coaching, no matter if you coach the American League level, is steep. in-game, out-of-game, amount of games, lack of practice. I think we're practicing twice, for the rest of the month. Those are things that are challenges, and he's handled them pretty well. There's ebbs and flows to it, and how the team responds has been a very, very pleasant outcome, in terms of his redirection, and that's his passion, his ability to communicate and teach. Albeit he wants to play a certain way, and the players are responding to that. So I think it's been a healthy 3/4 of the year, or 2/3 where we're at, and but there's a long way to go, and I think he understands that. And he continues to absorb and learn, and we're excited about where Marco can lead this group.
Time for 3 more, starting with Bridget.
A little bit more on James Higgins as well. For him, a lot of the season he's spent playing on the wing. Is that something that is encouraging to you? Do you still see him as a center? And if he comes up at the end of the season, does it make him a little bit easier to put into the lineup because now like what you see him do at the wing position? Maybe that's more of an available spot for him.
Well, we talk a lot about two-position players' entry point. It's a lot of time about where the entry point is. There's been a lot of rhetoric about whether or not we have enough depth and impactful players up the middle of the ice. I think our centers have done a pretty good job this year. Can we improve upon it? If James is the right guy, can somebody else move to the wing? Yeah, because they've been able to do that. He'll determine when he's ready to come in and impact and where he's going to impact. Again, being able to play the two positions, to still be offensively generating the chances he is from the wing. He still attacks to the middle of the ice, doesn't change his power play, approach and his entries and where he plays in the power play. So it's just being a better all-around player and understanding that. Is it an easier lift? Possibly as a winger and not playing checking 200 feet and playing against the elite guys on draws and some of the things that all young players have to be insulated on at times. But, we're excited about what his progression has been. James will eventually, not unlike Andre, who's also played two positions, or Dean, who's played two positions, they determine when they're ready to play in the National Hockey League. And the opportunity will be there for them.
Right.
We got Scott, Ty, and Brett bring us home.
Don, Matt Potter's name has popped up a lot. Do you still see a spot for him here in Boston long term?
Matt, he came in and played in the stadium games, scored a hell of a goal, went in and played, against a really good team. Handled his own against the Florida team in competitiveness. Like, if things were reversed and Matty spent all of his first year back in junior and then played a handful of games, then played 36. Like, he's played 60-some-odd games or close to it in the National Hockey League. He's just continuing to round out at a very young age, and he's responding. It's great to see him continue to round out, as I just referenced, to be that a little more of a complete player and understand that, managing the puck, managing your shift length, understanding where space is, and staying healthy. He went through shoulder surgery as well, so we're not disappointed in that. He's really taken to heart, to try and lead a Providence team, help lead a Providence team that's had a hell of a season. He's been a big part of that, so we're still excited about where Matt Poitras is in his development, and he's already proven he can come up and play, immediately come up and play and get inserted into a lineup.
Don, there's been so much talk today, obviously, about James and about Dean, and you do have 4 first-round picks, and when you look at where you are right now and the building that you still have to do you have a bit more reluctance to trade those first-round picks, given how rare they've been for the organization over the last 10 years or so?
Again, the right deal has to come along. If the right deal presents that is helping our club now moving forward, then we have to explore and look at that. And that's part of the job that our scouts do a really good job, to push the envelope, to say, hey, does this make sense for us now moving forward? You're not wrong in the fact that we spent, likely too much collateral assets to try and win. I'm not going to apologize for trying to win. I'm going to apologize we haven't won. But being in a position to try and go for it, that's what this organization wants to be back in. And we'll use them, hopefully, as effectively as we possibly can to do that. I'm not anxiously, aggressively doing it, but if it presents, I have to ask the questions of who's available and whether or not those assets will allow us to acquire the player.
Right, like, if it's the right piece, Like, it's a superstar piece for a long-term vision. Then the first-round picks or some of the talent from the first-round picks that you've already drafted, you got to explore it, right? You got to explore it and just think, like, is it worth sacrificing young talent and picks for a piece that could be monumental now and going forward? Like, that's like the mindset of like those big trades that needs to take place. Now, obviously, if you're somebody like a Jake DeBrusk, that's completely different because like he's a long-term piece, but he's not like a superstar piece. So like, I guess you won't really need to give up like a first-round pick or first-round pick talents that you've drafted or whatever. But again, he's basically saying, though, yes, I would be reluctant to trade it, but it would have to be the right deal for me to do it. So that's like what he's trying to get at here, which I agree with. If it's not the right deal, then you're not doing it.
That has to be paramount part of the job.
Donnie, first, thanks for your time today. My question is more about moving forward. But I have to take it back to last year's trade deadline. The plan that was put in place, the acquisitions that you made, the assets that were gained, the goals that were set, the successes that you've had in terms of reaching those goals this year. My question is, can you quantify how important or critical is that this year's version of the Boston Bruins, given the way that they played, that they make the playoffs this year?
I don't think we've ever deviated in the fact that we want to be a playoff team. Last year we set out, acknowledged our shortcomings, changed our course, and aggressively pursued the ability to get back in the hunt this year. We tried to do it this summer. We explored different opportunities that maybe would, on the surface, look at our goal scoring, but our group has done a really good job to provide the offense that might, on the surface, again, not have been there. Power play came back online. So we addressed some of the areas that we felt we needed to. We still have work to do.
Not to the level that
so
we were hoping
making the
for,
playoffs
but
is undoubtedly been the goal. It was a goal prior, to the start of last year. We fell woefully short, and as you referenced, we changed course. We drew up a plan that said we need to attack and we need to pull off, a start to getting us back to where we need to be and get to. We're not there yet. We have work to do. We put ourselves in a decent spot. We got a long way to go. It's going to be a hell of a competitive race. But our intentions are to be a playoff team. And then once you get in, obviously it's up to the group. But that's our intention.
all right, that's going to do it for this video here. Wow, I honestly didn't really get mad at him. You know what, man? I'll even toss you a like on this video, dude. Like, you didn't really piss me off in this press conference here. Normally you do, so, like, you did something right here. So, tip the cap to you. Leave a like if you guys enjoy these videos here. Subscribe now if you guys are new. You guys know what to do. Go check the website. The link is in the description down below. If you guys want to be notified whenever we drop an upload, hit that notification bell so you can be the first one to watch these videos. Let me know what you guys think the Bruins should do in the comment section down below. We will be having a podcast probably very soon. Now, seeing that I know that the trade deadline is approaching for the NHL, maybe I do want a little bit sooner for the Bruins and their trade deadline. So, stay tuned for that one. And, yeah, that's basically going to do it for this one here. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's been your boy Jesse, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Later, guys.